on ESPN Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guests and repeat offenders, both of them. Chris Murray, Anaheim City Council, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Fred Fascenelli, lawyer here in Orange County as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to have you both with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. You can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money. I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. A lot of interesting news out there today. We've got some good stuff and some stuff that you may not want to hear about. Government gone wild. Obviously, we like to poke a little fun there. I don't know if you saw this story. Unbelievable, the way of the world right now. Barber shop, Fred, you don't need to worry about this one. There's a barber shop out there in Pennsylvania that just got fined. Interesting. They would not cut a lady's hair. So the fine was $750. Now, I don't understand why the government would get involved in this. I don't understand why the lady was so insistent on having a guy at a barber shop who came out and said, I am not experienced in cutting ladies' hair. Why she would really want that. He offered to pay for her to go down the street, but it's an upscale barber shop, Washington County, Pennsylvania, offers the clients cocktails, cold beers when they get their hair cut. And the lady just wanted to make sure that she got her hair cut by the barber. Now, my barber, they charge me double. Wants to find it, wants to cut it. But, I don't think I don't get it. Government getting involved in everything. You can't make this stuff up. It's just too amazing to be able to make up this stuff. Also saw in the news, this was a really cool one, and I should tweet this out. Corn Maze honors American sniper Chris Kyle. This is and it's kind of funny when you really look at this closely. The 7-acre corn maze at Corn Dogs, DAWGS in Georgia was carved into the likeness of Chris Kyle. I saw this, had to bring it up, being that we are going to be participating, publicizing, and trying to raise, I think the goal is between $2 and $3 million on September 19th. An evening to remember for our American heroes. Solutions for Change is the organization right there at the Carlsbad Palomar Airport. It's going to be a great evening, and the reason I brought that up there was Taya Kyle, the widow of Chris Kyle, will be the keynote speaker at the event. Also just heard the word that the entire event is being underwritten. The costs of the event are being underwritten by two Southern California families, so that all the money earned that night can go right to ending homelessness in northern San Diego, southern Orange County area. So it's going to be a great event. If you haven't got your tickets yet, shame on you. I've been talking about it. Solutionsforchange.org is the website. You can get your tickets there at any time. Moving on to our state of confusion here once again. Obviously, the state of confusion led by Governor Moonbeam Brown. Gas prices, $2.36.9 national average. California average, $3.23.4. Steve just told me he found it at $3.03 right by our flagship station at ESPN. What are you paying for gas? Yeah, and I saw the state Senate did add another 12 cents, or they're trying to add another 12 cents to the gas tax, and the governor, yeah, what's he up to? State Bill 350 is his latest method of trying to demolish the state of California. Wants to use that to cut down on our usage of gas by 50% by the year 2030. I just pulled that part out of it, and a lot of people it's getting some publicity that since he pulled that part of the bill, that part of State Bill 350 out, people are saying, well, they're giving up, they're capitulating. Well, no, they're just moving it over to the pen and the phone method of government. I'm going to put that through the Air Quality Management District and see if they can deal with it that way. Just a thought from a simple guy that knows nothing about policy. Why don't they try and use the state government buildings and state officials as the guinea pigs instead of you and me? Just a thought. I don't know whether it would work. I don't know whether it wouldn't work. But let them try and live on the rules that they make. Even in Washington, maybe let them live on the rules they make for us before they force them on us. Just a thought. Speaking of the great economy that we've got going, another 275,000 people dropped out of the workforce. First-time jobless claims announced this morning. 275,000. The good news, that's exactly what they were expecting. Don't know why they call that good news, but it's what they say. We expected 275, we got 275, so that's good for the economy. And you hear these folks talking about 13 million jobs added during the Obama administration. Love that commentary because you have to really get people to understand what does 13 million jobs added mean when we start talking about last month. We added 173,000 new jobs. 30,000 of those were government employees, basically teachers going back to work. And we talk about 13 million new jobs added, but then we come up with a weekly first-time jobless claims of 275,000. Let me share with you the way these numbers work from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. A new job is defined as 1 hour of work during the month for pay. 1 hour worked for pay. So you go to work, get paid for an hour, you've got a new job created, that's part of that 13 million, and you get fired, now you're part of the 275,000 first-time jobless claims, and you do that over and over again. Well, that's how you get 13 million new jobs added, and having, at the same time, record lows on the labor participation rate. So nobody's participating, or we're getting lower labor participation. Over our friends at Chapman University, they tell us we should really be looking at the U6 number, that 5.1% unemployment, just a farce. Look at U6. It's going to tell you unemployment or underemployment, 10.3%. But nobody wants to report that. We're the only ones that want to share that information with you. Go call them over at Chapman. They'll tell you how to come up with the real unemployment number. So is the economy really doing well? Good question, right? Stock market, yeah, it looks good, up 103 points as I'm speaking to you right now. But the bond market is saying a whole different story with the 10-year U.S. Treasury yielding 2.22 right now. But the 10-year German bond is yielding a 0.7. So if people are willing to get a better yield, or they're getting a better yield on the 10-year Treasury from the U.S., it's basically telling us that the German economy is much better than the U.S. economy. Less risk. That's why you get paid for risk. When you get a higher yield, that means that the risk level is a little bit different right there. We're going to talk more about all of this and more with our guests when we come back. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing real estate, current events, and the financial markets. We've got a featured home today brought to us by Melinda Johnson. 3 questions to ask when buying a home. Students missing loan payments. They don't understand the expense of that to themselves. And Social Security secrets you probably don't know. Got a lot to cover today. Stay tuned. You can reach me anytime at our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter at Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
I love Solutions for Change. They're dedicated to solving family homelessness, one family, one community at a time. They do beautiful work, truly changing lives. They're a big event of the year. It's the 5th annual gala, an evening to remember with our American heroes, Saturday, September 19th in the Jet Source hangar at the Carlsbad Airport. It's going to be awesome. Taya Kyle, author and widow of Chris Kyle from American Sniper, is going to be the main speaker. Joining Taya will be Navy SEAL and former pro football player Clint Bruce, and I have the honor of attending the festivities as well. Jeffrey Strauss from Pamplemount's Grill will be catering the evening. There's going to be a hosted craft cocktail reception, live entertainment, silent and live auction, all to raise money for Solutions for Change. Tickets are available. Please grab them as soon as possible. I'd love to see you there. 760-941-6545. That's 760-941-6545 or solutionsforchange.org.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the real-time real estate segment brought to you by the VIP Hero Program. VIP Hero Program. VIPHero.com will get you all the information. Military, law enforcement, firefighters, nurses, all these folks, $5,000 to $10,000 in rebates when you buy or sell a house through the VIP Hero Program. The real estate agents, they're going to give you a rebate. The lenders a rebate. The title insurance companies and escrow, they can't say that they're going to give you a rebate. It's against the law for them to say they're going to give you a rebate or a discount. But they've got prices that are published and lower than their traditional rates. So I call it a discount. They can call it for legal reasons, whatever they want to call it. VIPHeroProgram.com. 3 questions you should ask before purchasing in today's market. Number 1, why am I buying a home in the first place? Finances should be one of the last reasons. Why are you buying a home? Good place to raise children, for them to get a good education, a place where you and your family feel safe. More space for you and your family, control of the space. Do you want a dog? Do you want a pool? You can't always do that. Those are the main reasons that we hear on a regular basis coming out of the Joint Center for Housing Studies at Harvard University. Where are home values headed? Well, according to the Home Price Expectations Survey, they give us a good answer to that because they talk to 100 economists, real estate experts, investment and marketing strategists. Home prices will appreciate 4.1% in 2015 as their results. Cumulative 18.1% by 2019. Even the pessimists amongst them say 10.5% by 2019. What's that mean for your family? More net worth, net wealth for your family. Where are mortgage rates headed? I don't know. The Mortgage Bankers Association, the National Association of Realtors, and Freddie Mac all say interest rates will be up by about a full percentage by this time next year. So only you know what's right for your family, but you need to answer these questions for your family. That, again, is the Real-Time Real Estate segment. Again, brought to you by VIP Hero Program, VIPHero.com. Chatting this morning with our guests, Chris Murray, Fred Fascenelli. Got some interesting topics on our calendar today. Fred, you deal a lot. You're the lawyer in the house. I know nothing about the law other than to stay away from it.
Well, don't hold that against me.
I get nervous when I hear that lawyers are in the house. But one of the things that I love, and I never thought that I would have as much affection for a lawyer coming in as a criminal lawyer. Right? I mean, I didn't understand it until you and I chatted, but especially when I heard that you're out there on one of the same missions I am in helping the veterans. And how you can help is there a lot of criminal work helping our veterans coming home?
Well, the problem with veterans coming home is they have been taught to survive in one sort of environment, and they're brought back to another sort of environment where that conduct is considered, unacceptable. Driving on the wrong side of the road, or driving fast, or people have panic attacks, and next thing you know, they're getting a reckless driving or a DUI because they're self-medicating from the stress that they are experiencing from being reintroduced in society. And luckily, there's been different vehicles to assist these guys from being shackled with a conviction and all the problems that go with it. And it's just become nicer to assist these folks now. I've teamed up with the Veterans Legal Institute out of Santa Ana, and they really take care of all the civil issues for these vets. But a lot of them have these other criminal issues, and I'll call them criminal, but they're misdemeanors. But even the misdemeanors have the effect of raising people's insurance, thousands upon thousands of dollars of fines and fees, and then not to mention that they are put on probation and they, don't deserve it.
When you were in last time, that was one of the things that sparked our interest on especially chatting again, was you were talking about the program where the veterans, if they come to you early enough within the process, that there's a program that they kind of get put on probation of some sort, and then the record is expunged.
What's called is pre-plea diversion. What it used to be is people could be put on post-plea diversion, which meant you had to plead guilty in order to get your diversion. And if you fell out of diversion, so like a drug treatment program or an alcohol class, or even if it was a 52-week batterers treatment program, something to that effect, or anger management. If you fell out of it for one reason or another, you got sick or you got injured or whatever it may have been, then you're shackled with the plea of guilty, and there's no way to unravel that. The concept now is that they have pre-plea diversion, which means they can go to diversion, and if they fall out of diversion for whatever reason, they still are afforded their opportunities under the Constitution to, fight their case and have the state of California prove their charges beyond a reasonable doubt. So it's a much better solution, I believe. But you still have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get there.
So tell us a little bit about what is going to qualify. So a veteran, if somebody either has a veteran in their household or knows, who's the right person that should be reaching out before they go too far down the road?
Well, the crux is this: the state first of all has to, before every court opening they have a disclosure. If you're a vet, make sure you approach the clerk and get this form, and then talk about it with your lawyer. And it describes all the rights that veterans now have under the criminal justice system. But
do the attorneys know as much, or do you have to be specially trained for this, or is it just a boilerplate that they're going through and saying, do you know this? Yes, check the boxes.
No, the problem being is this: a lot of people don't have. Now, I really love the public defender's office, but the problem with the public defender's office is you have a small group of well-meaning attorneys who have an unbelievable task of people drawing at their well. They're all these people who can't afford lawyers, they come to them and they're like, help my problem. And they just don't have the time to have the personalized attention. My teaming up with the Veterans Legal Institute, for me, if you're a veteran and you served in a combat situation, come see me and I'll take care of you. It's a pro bono event. I do this because I am the son of a Vietnam veteran from the Air Force. My father was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, and I've always had a very soft spot in my heart for people who've served in the military, and especially in combat situations.
Need more people that are doing that. I mean, that's if we can find more people that'll look out for the veterans. I suggest. I mean, we had Larry Broughton was on with us yesterday, and obviously we've had him many times. Retired Green Beret, and talking about the idea that the veterans, we send them over as young kids, and obviously as we get older, they seem younger and younger.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're barely out of high school. They go over there, they see some of the worst things in the world. We bring them back here and say, okay, have at it. They're not much more, and their friends have all matured. The ones that haven't gone have matured from an experience standpoint, a social standpoint, and they've just been told what to do, go do it, and they come back here and get thrown into society where they haven't really kept up with that learning curve.
I believe that we bring all these young men and women into the military. They're the age of 18 to 20, which is when they're what I refer to their informative years, and the military wants that because they want them to walk this way, talk this way, salute that way, and follow these directions and follow those orders, and they are really made into fantastic Marines and Navy personnel and Air Force personnel and Army. But the problem is when they come back, the general society cannot relate to the way things work in the military. The military is very regimented, and your safety is the utmost important. Where people in general civil society, are more after themselves, and I just don't think they can relate to them. I have a problem right now where I'm trying to get a veteran who watched two of his friends get blown up, and then himself drive over a IED to get him the plea diversion, as I was talking about, and it's really up to the judge whether or not they want to grant it. And the problem is the judge, he's a good guy, but he just can't relate to the concept of watching your buddy have his legs blown off and your other buddy effectively get vaporized in front of you. And it's just a very upsetting chain of events, viewing from my perspective, because I think we see the movies and we go, oh, that must be war, and it's not. People get post-traumatic stress disorder from the simplest things of having your house robbed, and you feel uncomfortable about putting your key in the door and hearing it go click, click, click in the dark, and then they just can't relate to the concept of something really horrific happening to you, and then trying to relate to that person and get them help.
And they're doing it. I think a lot of the tours are 7, 8, 9 months long. So I mean, think about that. If we see that with that, I know several years ago my mom had her house broken into, and she says to this day that it's still bothers her.
No.
Right? And then you talk about this for 9 months on end.
Well, this gentleman I was talking about, he went to Afghanistan. He witnessed a bunch of horrific stuff, came back and got a DUI, but then they pled it down to a wet so he could still drive when he went back to Afghanistan. So they gave him a wet and they sent him back to Afghanistan. And when he was in Afghanistan, he watched two of his friends die, and then he himself drove over an IED and his Humvee got blown up. He suffered a concussion, came back, and after he was discharged from the military and put into civil society, he got 3 more DUIs in a 4-month period. That itself says post-traumatic stress disorder. It screams it. And he was diagnosed with it. And the judge still's going, well, I don't really know if he qualifies. And the problem is the judge is just afraid that, what happens if he fails? Well, if he fails, he gets to come back and we get to start all over this process again. But we should afford these men and women the opportunity for treatment, and afford these, or actually stand up to these men and women for the contract that they've, signed off to. They have a contract with their government and a contract to their society, and we're part of their society. We should honor that contract.
And even more, just from a humanitarian standpoint, we need to look and say, we couldn't be doing what we do if it wasn't for them out there fighting these battles and giving us these freedoms and letting us agree or disagree, or a judge sitting on a bench. We have a lot of debt, a lot of gratitude, and we're going to talk more about that with Kris. You've got a big event, a big proposal coming up to help even going the next step with the police and fire as well. So we want to chat about that because they're getting a bad rap even home, and they're not going over there. So we're going to chat about all that. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. A lot to talk about when we come back. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number is 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a loved one who wants to stay in their home, but you have health concerns about it? The Preferred Care Team understands the challenges of caring for your loved ones. Their goal is to keep seniors as independent as possible while maintaining their health, safety, and overall well-being. Whether you need just a few hours a week or 24-hour care, Preferred Care caregivers are trained to meet your needs. Call Preferred Care at 714-696-9150. That's 714-696-9150. Or visit preferredcare.com.
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today brought to you by Solutions for Change, an evening to remember. Looking forward to that event. Make sure you go to their website, get your ticket before they're all gone. It's going to be a great night. I got the interesting, the chef that's cooking dinner, or maybe I don't know if he really does the cooking, but he's overseeing it. Cooked for 2 presidents, U.S. presidents, not corporate presidents. Be pretty interesting to see that one there as well. Taya Kyle be the guest keynote speaker. Clint Bruce, a keynote speaker. A lot of other dignitaries there as well. Most students don't get how bad it is to miss loan payments. Obviously, we talk about the student loan payments. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the student loans anyway. I think you need to really look at the budget before going to school, before your kids go to school, and see if it makes sense to go to the school. I've shared with you a very, very simple solution to solve our student loan problem. It's a real simple one. Allow for the student loans to be discharged in bankruptcy. See how quickly the schools stop giving them out if they're not going to just keep getting government handouts and putting these things on the back of our kids. But missing one payment, credit card, student loan, when it's reported, could cost 100 points on your credit score, 100 points. Now, we did a little bit of an analysis recently to see what does 100 points on your credit score mean. Think about this one, 650 credit score. You can buy a house, you can buy a car, or a 750 credit score, better score, obviously, 100 points better. $400,000 house, $35,000 car, 100-point difference in your score, $500 a month difference in your payments. $500. I would suggest you need to really teach our kids, teach your kids, your grandkids, what that means to them. And if you need some help with it, give us a call. I'd be happy to share the information, share with you some strategies for increasing credit scores the legal way. You know, I've shared with you before, all of your credit reports are wrong. I haven't seen one that's correct, and I've been looking at credit reports for 20 years, never ever seen a completely accurate score. Never. Your Credit Matters segment, again, brought to you by Solutions for Change and Evening to Remember. Continuing our conversation this morning, Fred Fascenelli, attorney here in Orange County, Chris Murray, Anaheim City Council. So we're going to chat a little bit. Chris, we left off with Fred talking about the gratitude we have for our veterans. And you were just saying before we went on air, you're introducing a resolution for law enforcement. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Fred, for everything you do to serve our veterans here at home. It's desperately needed. On Tuesday, the Council is going to consider a resolution that I requested come back to really show law enforcement, and that's police, fire, and our U.S. military, everyone in uniform who serves our community and keeps us safe, that the city stands strong with them. Across the country, we are seeing an escalation in violence that is alarming. It is unprecedented in our nation's history, where police officers and other law enforcement are being targeted simply for being in uniform, for literally execution. And we've lost 4 law enforcement officers in the line of duty to gunfire in the last couple of weeks. We've lost 85 officers in the line since January of this year. So it's an alarming rate, and we want to say, as a community, as a city, we stand with you, we support you, we honor and deeply appreciate the sacrifice you make and your family makes to serve and keep our community safe.
It's a great, even with some of the, and I'll say this because I know that you won't, you got too much class, I don't. There's some people in the council that I would bet that are even going to be against something like this, but it's crazy that anybody in our society would be against something like this. I mean, I know that there's some goofballs out there that don't, but I mean, we really owe a huge debt of gratitude to our first responders. I mean, who are you going to call? Right? I mean,
these men and women literally sign up every day to stand between you and I and violence.
Right.
And they know that. They take that on. And the very least we can do as a civilized society is stand behind them and say, we are here for you, we honor you, and we appreciate the sacrifice you and your family make.
And I'm gonna reiterate our ongoing event that we have on Ron Siegel Radio is the Pay It Forward program. If you see law enforcement, firefighters over at a restaurant, a Starbucks, wherever, pick up the tab for them. Send me a copy of the receipt, and we'll put your receipt in a drawing to give you a free meal. We've got a bunch of sponsors who want to give back as well. So you go and do that. Say thank you. Walk up to them. Teach your kids to say thank you. That's if we can teach our kids to say thank you, we're going to have a big much better society down the road. Right?
Absolutely. And tomorrow, September 11th, we will stand with the law enforcement and the military and police and fire who ran into those buildings to save lives and lost their lives alongside our citizens. And then the military, the members of the military who rushed to battle to defend this country and our nation's liberties, and many of whom, thousands of whom, lost their lives doing that. So September 11th's casualty toll continues to climb, and every year we pause to say thank you, to pray for them, and to honor them. And so our first responders and the City of Anaheim are hosting a ceremony, a 9/11 ceremony, tomorrow at the Grand Plaza of the Anaheim Convention Center from 9 to 10. And if you have the time to join us, to pause and really reflect on what that moment in time meant for our nation, hope you can join us.
Be a great time. I don't know what they would say. I might have to talk to Steve. We'll have to talk to the engineers and people over at ESPN, see if we can take a little break there at that time in the morning. I don't know what they'll say about us doing that in the middle of the broadcast, but we'll look at it. You've got a lot of other work going on now, and not only having to battle with some of your colleagues on the City Council. I've shared that, and I'm not going to ask you to comment on this part of it, but the Orange County Register's working at misleading the citizens of Orange County quite frequently. But tell us a little bit. My personal opinion is that they're misleading people about what's going on with the bed tax, or the what do they call, transit occupancy tax, or transit?
Yeah, transit occupancy tax, or T.O.T. It's what our visitors pay. It's the surplus at your hotel room that the visitors pay when they come to the city, and part of that is supposed to go toward the wear and tear and use of facilities when you visit a city. We all pay it every time we travel at any hotel we go to around the world. But in Anaheim, because of the strength of the resort district, because of the investments we've made in the convention center, and because of the strength of and phenomenal teams we have playing both the Anaheim Ducks and Angels baseball at our two stadiums, our T.O.T. has increased exponentially since the 1990s, and that is what's kept Anaheim's economy strong. We have cities around the county who are faltering: Westminster, Stanton, Placentia, La Palma, who are all struggling just to make ends meet right now, and are looking at tax increases. In Anaheim, we just adopted a budget that is balanced, restored cash reserves, is closing the gap on our pension liabilities. We're 73% funded on our pension liabilities. Healthcare is 100% funded annually, our healthcare obligations for retirees, and it's a closed account. It's not offered any further. We are reinvesting over $200 million in city infrastructure, parks, libraries, and community centers. So, and as we speak of law enforcement, added 10 new police officers, 3 new firefighters, an additional firehouse. I mean, some major public safety investment as well. It's all direct nexus to the strength of our resort district, our stadium district, and our economy in Anaheim.
So why is it that there's a discouragement? I mean, when I read the article in the Register talking about the issue that that some members of the council don't want to reinvest some of those funds into bringing new hotels into the area.
Yeah, so the debate has really circulated around the level, not whether there should be one, because all 5 members, including the mayor, have voted for a rebate program up to 50%. The real and what's hard to explain to people is the debate is really about whether it's a 50% rebate or a 70% rebate.
And that part wasn't in the Register article either.
No. I inherited, actually, the Garden Walk Hotel Assistance Program. It was originally adopted in 2002. The mayor was very supportive of it. And so was the entire council. It was adopted unanimously. And then after 10 years, when we couldn't get an investor in there, when the developer couldn't get financial backing to build those 2 4-star hotels. And 4-star hotel, by the way, creates and generates exponentially more revenue to the general fund than a 2 or 3-star hotel. So that is the reason for wanting a 4-star hotel, an additional 4-star hotels in Anaheim. It's not about we just want nicer hotels. We want the revenue that those hotels generate.
Well, let me back up there a second, Kris, because I think that I understand that. But when you have a 4-star hotel or better, the people there obviously are going to pay more money, so it's going to be more tax revenue.
Right.
But they're also going to go to maybe Cheesecake Factory instead of Denny's.
Well,
and pay more money, spend more money within our community as well.
It's even more than that. So when you have our conventions in particular, because the people who are coming to Disneyland really appreciate those quality, family-friendly 2- and 3-star hotels. They're affordable. It makes sense for families. But when we have our big conventions and we want to attract those larger professional-based conventions, the folks that are coming for that professional doesn't want to be in they want a full-service hotel, and since we don't have any off-Disney property in Anaheim, they typically stay outside our city and we don't capture any of their revenue. So by creating these hotels in Anaheim, we keep that visitor here, they extend their stay, and that revenue, both their meals, their retail, and their hotel stay, all that revenue goes to Anaheim's fund instead of outside of our city boundaries.
So the 50 to 70% difference seems to me that that's more just an issue of competition.
Right. So as I mentioned, and we actually have some exciting news on this front. As I mentioned, the 50% was put in place over 10 years ago, and those parcels, the registrar had great pictures of that in this recent announcement in the paper, have stayed just dirt lots for the entire 10, 12, 14 years now.
Nice. Generates a lot of revenue.
Zero revenue. So but it going to 70%, the developer who's held onto that land, paid those property taxes every year, but generated no revenue for himself or the city, was finally able to secure a flagship, and the JW Marriott, one of the leading luxury brands in the world, has announced their first flagship in Orange County here in Anaheim, and will build a 4-star hotel right next to Garden Walk. And we're just thrilled because by just that 20% increase in the rebate, we're able to secure a JW Marriott. The life of the program of once both hotels are built, and we don't know yet with that second flagship if it'll be part of a JW Marriott or a different brand, but when both hotels are built, they have the ability to generate over the life of this program, which is 20 years, nearly $500 million in revenue to the city.
Holy cow, that's serious.
It's serious money, and it keeps taxes low.
Right,
if we're able to generate it privately, it's not coming out of your pocket.
Right, and I like that because I'm cheap.
I like it too.
You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, more with our guests, Chris Murray, Anaheim City Council, and Fred Fascenelli, lawyer, helping out our veterans. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Sure, they're going to add.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel lending team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation mortgage adoption plan. You be the judge if it's right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to map@ronsiegelradio.com or call today Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporation and MLS 217037 and BCAL-BRE number 018694552.
I love Solutions for Change. They're dedicated to solving family homelessness, one family, one community at a time. They do beautiful work, truly changing lives. They're a big event of the year. It's the 5th annual gala, an evening to remember with our American heroes, Saturday, September 19th in the Jet Source hangar at the Carlsbad Airport. It's going to be awesome. Taya Kyle, author and widow of Chris Kyle from American Sniper, is going to be the main speaker. Joining Taya will be Navy SEAL and former pro football player Clint Bruce, and I have the honor of attending the festivities as well. Jeffrey Strauss from Pample Mouse Grill will be catering the evening. There's going to be a hosted craft cocktail reception, live entertainment, silent and live auction, all to raise money for Solutions for Change. Tickets are available. Please grab them as soon as possible. I'd love to see you there. 760-941-6545. That's 760-941-6545 or solutionsforchange.org.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel lending team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or simply call 800-306-1990.
Open a new SDCCU checking account at any branch location and receive a free lunch tote and a coupon for Rubio's Original Fish Taco. For details, visit sdccu.com.
To Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Word on Wealth segment today brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. You have a credit card processing fee if you have a small business that takes credit cards. How about Commerce for a Cause? They will match your fee. 20% goes back to the nonprofit organization of your choice. Maybe even, here, think about this one. Fred, you might like this. How about if somebody has a small business, they take credit cards, Commerce for a Cause matches the fee, and then gives 20% back to Veterans Legal Organization.
Well, that's fantastic, since I take credit cards at my business.
There you go. Money going right back to a great organization. Social Security secrets you probably don't know. I'm going to go through these real quick because I want to get back to chatting with our guests. Are you aware that Social Security is not just for retired workers and their spouse? 70% of those getting benefits are the retirees. 70%. So where does the other money go to? 11% of Social Security recipients, spouses and certain minor or disabled children. 19% are going to other similar programs just like that. State and local workers don't get Social Security is another one for the most part. Divorced spouses can still make claims for Social Security benefits using their ex-spouse's work history. Talked about that a little bit recently, that ironically enough, a divorced spouse actually has more rights than a current spouse when it comes to Social Security benefits. Can't figure that one out, but that is the way the rules work. If you don't know it, you should. And give me a call. I'll put you in touch with people that do know that. Word on Wealth segment, again, brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. I'm going to skip our featured property. We'll talk about that one tomorrow. What the heck? I want to get back to our guests. So, Kris, I actually got to, I wouldn't say enjoy an evening with you recently, because you got to sit on the stage and I got to stand there watching you for a marathon city council meeting. And a lot of it had to do with Disneyland and the entertainment tax, and thank goodness you prevailed on your policies there.
Yeah.
And there's some great news coming from Disneyland because of it.
Hey, the force is with Anaheim.
Exactly.
We have Star Wars Land coming to Anaheim because the Anaheim Council chose to continue its partnership with the Disneyland Resort and agreed to extend a tax policy that's been in place for 20 years, which again is freedom-friendly, keeping taxes low. We agreed not to put an entertainment tax in place at the Disneyland Resort, and quite frankly, I would never agree to it citywide. I don't think any of us want to pay more taxes when you go to the movie theater or miniature golf or a stadium or a concert or a movie theater. So
how about my kid's football game? I don't want to pay a tax for that.
If there's a ticket, you would pay a tax if it was an entertainment tax in Anaheim. We've never had one. It was a no-brainer to extend this policy, and in exchange, Disneyland is literally investing and breaking ground by 2017 on 14 acres of Star Wars land, a total immersion into the world of Star Wars and to the genius and imagination of George Lucas. So really an exciting opportunity to continue that legacy and have it be here based in Anaheim.
To me, that was I watch what some of the things coming out of the city councils, out of business in general, and so much of what goes on in business, you're experimenting, right? That's an entrepreneurial spirit, right? I think I can make this work. 5 years ago, I started doing a radio show. I think I can make this work. 20 years ago was an experiment with this entertainment tax.
Right.
When you were reviewing it now, it's not an experiment. It was just basically continuing something that was successful.
No, we have empirical evidence to prove it's successful. And just let me share just some facts and figures. Those are always good in a database show. But since the city first partnered on the resort district with the Disneyland Resort and other hoteliers and businesses in the resort area, our T.O.T, which is the primary source that the city keeps of local revenue, bed taxes that we talked about earlier, in 1996-97, that amount to our general fund was $45 million. 20 years later, it's $133 million.
300%, a little more.
It has netted major benefit, economic benefit to the residents in the city of Anaheim.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't believe when I listened to somebody...
All because we agreed to keep taxes low.
Right.
How do you lose on that formula?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chris, I think we need you in Washington, D.C. I don't know, but maybe you can teach them some of these things as well.
Yeah.
But that one there, it seemed like to me, I was listening to some of the contrarians at that council meeting, and I'm like, how is it that changing is going to be better? Do you want to, you just cited some numbers there that they started the meeting off with. If you want to go back or revert and add that tax, the only logical reason would be because you think you're going to do better.
Right.
Right?
But the tax doesn't generate anywhere near what the private investment does, and this comes out of the pockets of our businesses and not out of the pockets of our residents.
Amazing. It seems simple to me.
The mindset, I think, is people just don't see the money coming from somebody instead, coming from somebody to the government.
Yeah.
And I think they find that hard to accept.
It's difficult, though. Because as a community member, if I see the new parks that you were sharing with us off air, Chris, I see you hear you talking about the Marriott coming into the city. We see all these different things going on in a great city.
We're budgeting for 40 new police officers over 4 years, getting us back to pre-recession levels. There's no city in Orange County doing that.
Right, and we're not having to pay more money out of our own pockets.
Not $1.
Right, to me that just seems like do it more. If it's doing it that well, can't you do more?
Well, that's the momentum. That's why we're expanding the convention center. 7th betterment was approved this year as well, and they've broken ground, and they're going like gangbusters. And that's why we're attracting hoteliers with the economic policies. That's why we're extending tax policies at Disneyland to get this next expansion. And not only the revenue numbers, it's jobs, and it's trade jobs, which are represented jobs with benefits. These are putting local folks in the skilled trades back to work in large numbers, and they have had the highest levels of unemployment since the recession.
Well, you think about it. $1 billion, breaking ground on $1 billion at Disney, a hotel that's going to cost a fortune. I don't know what the numbers are, but that's going to construction jobs for both of those, and then the ongoing maintenance and.
Yeah, the hotel alone, it's 5,000 construction jobs.
5,000 jobs.
Well, I'm sorry, that's the 2 hotels that are budgeted for Garden Walk. Yeah.
And the Garden Walk over there right now, you go over there sometimes and it seems like it's a ghost town. It's like the Knott's Berry Farm.
It is. They were meant to open together, the hotels and the Garden Walk Retail Center, and unfortunately Garden Walk went first, then the collapse of the economy. That affected all of us and everyone across the country, and then the financing for the hotels fell through, and we never got those back up and running until now. So
amazing stuff. It'd be nice to just personal opinion, which I share a lot. So, Fred, do you know some veterans that want jobs?
Oh yeah, plenty of them.
Right,
Sign me up.
There's a couple of places right there. I've been talking right along about the veterans coming back, and most of them don't want the handout.
Oh no,
they want to hand up.
They want to work, and they want to show that the skills they learned in the military are applicable to civilian life, and a lot of them are. You have a lot of electricians. You have a lot of CBs out there who did all this construction stuff over in Iraq and Kuwait and Afghanistan. So there's a lot of people from the what do they call it, construction brigade, the CBs.
And both for the convention center, hotels, and Disneyland, there's a major emphasis on reaching out to veterans.
It doesn't surprise me. Right? When you start getting some of the folks that are involved in these things, they look at it and they realize that the veterans are a great source of, people as far as a commodity. Right? They started off with that compassion of giving, putting it all on the line, and coming back. We just owe them, in my opinion, find the job, put a roadmap out there, and that's what they're great at.
Right.
Once you get them on track, they have a fantastic work ethic, and they really stick with the plan that they're tasked with. I watch people who are fighting with different types of addiction, alcohol or whatever, but once you get them on the track of some sort of recovery, it's more or less it's an order. Hey, this is what I'm supposed to do, and they follow forward with it. It's really nice to see.
And the irony is that even though we went through the economic downturn, and so many people talked about it being with regard to real estate and people putting no money down, the irony is even with the no money down for the veterans loan, the VA loan had the lowest default rate of any of the loans out there. Again, going back to the same thing, the veterans, it's a great group of people. And if you've got jobs, I've got about 4 or 5 different companies now that are looking for people, for veterans, that they'll hire at any given time. If you're a business owner and you've got jobs available, give us a call. We'll put your company name on our list. Always looking to find jobs for the veterans and get them on that roadmap. Get them a job, get them a roof over their head, get them the credit repaired if they need it, and then get them into that VA loan so they own their own home. What better plan can you have than that, other than setting your first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to our guests this morning, Chris Murray, Anaheim City Council, Fred Fascenelli, lawyer here in Orange County as well. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A very big thanks to you for spending your day with, a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember my mantra, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
In the middle of our streets, our house.
X, AKA Music.